Hello everybody, I'm Ulrich with UFixItAuto, and today I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to be replacing my thermostat in my 1998 Toyota Celica. Now my car actually does not need this fixed. This is actually a preventative maintenance sort of thing. This car has 150,000 miles on the clock, and who knows when it's been replaced and if they replaced it with a cheap part. I honestly do not know. And as you guys know, I have been building this car with OEM parts in order to make sure that this car runs forever. Cars with this engine run for 300,000 plus miles on the original engine and transmission, and so far this car has been running awesome. But to help motivate some of you guys in order to work on your cars, or for those of you that actually have an issue with these parts, I'll show you how I'm going to be replacing the thermostat. If you are able to, I would recommend getting an OEM unit. These do not cost that much more than getting one from a local auto parts store, but these tend to hold up better. They weigh a lot more. I feel like these just last a lot longer. So for just $10 more, I would recommend getting these. And as always, I will leave a link down to the same product that I use down in the description below, and I'll even leave a part number so that way you guys can cross-reference it later if you guys want to do your own shopping. Now, the thermostat is actually located right down here. It's a very easy fix. The two things that we need to do is I have to drain the radiator because a coolant is going to go everywhere, and we want to make sure to capture all that coolant. And the second thing is just to take out these two 10mm bolts and then replace the thermostat. And so the first step that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drain the coolant that's in the radiator first. And in order to do that, there is a drain valve that's actually located on the passenger side on the lower part of the radiator. And to get to that, you actually have to go from underneath the car. Now you can jack up the car if you want more space, but I actually found that you can do this without having to jack up the car as long as your car isn't too low. Mine is actually currently on stock height, so it's not going to be difficult to get underneath. But if you do have to, then just jack up the car, or even try the curb method. Just go up on the curb on one side of the car and see if you can access the bolts from underneath. So going underneath from the passenger side, we can see a splash guard that is currently over the drain valve. And normally there's actually more bolts holding it in, but mine is actually only held in by one bolt. So I'm going to use a 10mm socket and ratchet in order to remove this. There we go. And now I can lower the splash guard. And if we look right over here, here is the drain valve. So we just go ahead and turn this counterclockwise, and then it's going to drain the coolant. I'm going to grab a catch pan and put it underneath and make sure it catches all that coolant. We don't want that into our atmosphere. We don't want that in our environment. It is sweet, it kills animals, and it's just not good to have. So be sure to catch it and recycle it properly. There we go. And now it is draining. And to give you an idea, this is what the drain plug looks like for the radiator. It is plastic, it is threaded, so do not use any tools to be able to remove it. You should be able to do it by hand unless it's melted for some reason. Then that's not good. Now we have to wait for the coolant to drain. There we go. It's coming down a lot faster. Looks like there was maybe something clogging it. Maybe there is still something clogging it, or there's something in there, but it's draining a lot faster, which means that we may have gotten some crud out of the radiator. Awesome. All right, now that it has completely stopped leaking or dripping or any of that, I put actually the plug back in, and the next step is to remove these two 10mm bolts that are right there. Now they kind of are awful to take off, so you have to play around with socket and extensions, but I've found out that a normal short 10mm with an extension is the best method to do it. And make sure to have the drip pan underneath because it will dump more coolant. But I've learned that if you loosen it up, you should be able to use your fingers to just remove the rest. That way you're not sitting there with a ratchet. Okay, now that they're removed, you should be able to just pop out the thermostat. There we go. And then here is the thermostat. Should be able to just remove that. All right, here we go. And here we have our two thermostats. Here is the old thermostat. It looks like it's a Motorad. I think that's an advanced auto part. Probably a $10 thermostat. Did the job. It's actually in pretty good shape too, so I'll probably keep that for a rainy day. You never know. And this is the new one that I got. Pretty similar in construction. The size is overall the same, and they're both rated for 82 degrees Celsius, so we should be good to go. Just got to put this new part in. The best way that I found to put it in is to actually put it in the housing first and then feed it all through. There we go, until it's nice and flush. Then we get the nuts as far in as we can by hand. Use the socket and ratchet to tighten it up. Now this doesn't need to be too tight. It is plastic, so if you do it too tight, it will crack. Go. I get it just as tight as I can get it by hand with my hand on the head of the ratchet. And there we go. Now there's a new thermostat in, and the last thing to do here is just to add more coolant into the system and then bleed it, and then you just need to get a funnel in order to put more coolant in there. I went to my local auto parts store and got this red coolant for Asian vehicles. As you can see here, it's Toyota, and the coolant that was in there already was red, and that's what the owner's manual recommends. So this is the correct coolant to get. And if you don't have one of these, I would recommend getting them. It's a spill-proof funnel kit, and the way that it works is that there's so many little adapters and radiator caps that you could try on. The correct one is actually this blue one that comes with the kit. So you just slip this adapter in to the radiator cap and then attach it on. Just like that. Make sure it's nice and snug, and then just fit this right in. That way you have a lot more working room, and then as soon as you're done filling coolant, you could just cap it up and then pour the rest into the container, so that way you have more coolant for later. So now we just get our fresh coolant and slowly pour it in until it starts to fill the funnel. And now we're to the point to where the coolant just pretty much stopped, and we want to inspect for leaks, make sure there's none around the thermostat housing for right now. Make sure there's none that's spilling on the bottom of the car. Yeah, next we're gonna squeeze the hose. Bleed all of that air bubble out. And next we're going to start the car and then just let the thermostat open and dump all the coolant in, and then top it off, and then we should be good to go. There we go. And then it got up to operating temperature, and then I turned off the car, and this is all that's left over. So all I got to do is just plug it up. There we go. I can take this out, put it back in the container, and then lift up the plug and put the rest back in. Now I can just put the cap back on, and we are good to go. But overall, very easy job. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate all the nice comments you guys have made about my channel. I do hope to improve. I do hope to give you guys so much more content and give you better content as well. And if you're not already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Anything that you guys would want me to change, anything you guys would like me to add, let me know, and I'll be sure to consider it. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching.